My name is Carlos Cuestas, and I am an associate in strategic partnerships and programming at Kupferberg Center for the Arts at Queens College. Welcome to our third installment of the Music Makers Concert Series, featuring graduates from the Aaron Copland School of Music at Queens College. Our online programming continues during this challenging year, offering concerts, visual arts presentations, and literary readings. We are thankful for the opportunity you give us to bring to your screens world-class, accessible, and affordable programming. The Music Makers Alumni Series and all of our spring programming is part of Kupferberg Center's 2020-2021 season, proudly brought to you by our lead sponsor, the New York Community Bank, with additional support from the New York City Department of Cultural Affairs, Resorts World Casinos, and the Max and Selma Kupferberg Family Foundation. We thank our sponsors and we thank you, without whom we wouldn't be able to bring such talented artists to the screen. Today, we bring you Aaron Copland School of Music graduate Jorn Swart. Jorn is a pianist, composer, and arranger currently living in New York City. His refined playing and emotive compositions have garnered him much recognition both in the United States and in Europe. His latest project, Malnoia, is an unorthodox one, mixing jazz and chamber music. Their first CD was released in 2017 and was critically acclaimed. Malnoia's latest release, Hello Future, was released earlier this month, and we are privileged to have such fresh music as part of this performance. Remember, after this show, Jorn will be taking questions from the audience, so stay tuned and feel free to ask any questions you may have on the comments section of YouTube or Facebook. Also, don't forget to visit our website, www.kupferbergcenter.org, or our social media channels to find out about the rest of our spring programming. We thank you for joining us and enjoy the show.
Thank you for joining us at this concert at the Kupferberg Center of the Arts at Queens College. My name is Jorn Swart. I'm the band leader of my group Malnoia, and we're here together in my rehearsal space in Brooklyn, and we're super excited to be doing this. Firstly, because as a Queens alumni, I feel like my time at Queens College, even though it was almost a decade ago that I graduated, has been profoundly impactful on my life, both musically, but also in terms of the connections I've made there and the opportunities that it has given me. So including this concert right here, I think it's really nice to be doing this and playing some music together and sharing my music with you. So let me just quickly introduce my group. On bass clarinet, we have Lucas Pino. On the viola, we have Benny van Goodside. And my name is Jorn Swart. I play piano, and I'm the composer of my group. We are Malnoia, and we have a new album that's coming out. That's actually already out. It's called Hello Future. And we're super excited to be sharing some music from the album with you. Without further ado, let's just get right into it. This first piece is called Paaltje. It's a composition that I wrote 3 years ago for my best friend from high school, who had given me an amazing present for my 30th birthday, where he had collected all the letters that we've been writing over the years to each other in a book and bound it and gave it to me. And I felt like I had to do something for his 30th birthday too, that was equally impactful and meaningful. So this is the composition that came out of that. This is called Paaltje. I hope you enjoy. Thank you. So for this next one, let me tell you a little bit about the album, because it's called Hello Future. It explores themes about the future, about technology, fast-changing technologies, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and things like that. So basically the concept is every composition on the album is accompanied by a short story. And the short story is inspired by the composition. So we started with having writers listen to the music and then come up with a little story that explores these themes. And this next one is one that's called Democrap, and it's a Democrap is an app. It's Democrap app, and it's an app that basically decides democracy. So voters can swipe up or down to decide on decisions throughout the day. People develop democracy addiction and all things like that. And that's the idea behind this song. And it was inspired by the music. So with that in mind, this is Democrap. Thank you. We're moving on. This next one is one that we love playing. It's in the style of a Brazilian choro. A choro is a style that developed in the early 20th century in Brazil, and it's very energetic. There's a lot of chord changes. It's very melodic. There's a lot of melodies, a lot of eighth notes. It's also called the Bebop of Brazil, right? Lucas likes to point that out, and I think that's a really apt description. And I wrote one in that style, but kind of going through the Malnoia lens. And this one is called Choro Humano. It's also on our record, and I hope you enjoy. always going for the dramatic ending, Benny, right? You got to do it. You just got to do it. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for hanging out with us and, sharing. We're really excited to share this new music with you. We've been working on it for over 3 years at this point, and to actually share it with the world in this way is really, really amazing. So thank you for listening and tuning in. This next one is this is the first track of our album. This is called First Ocean. It comes with a story where in the story there's a traveler. This is at some point in the future. And his job is to make other planets habitable. So terraform them. And this is a time where people don't die anymore. But they do forget, so they lose their memories. And he has been at this job for so long that at some point he terraforms the planet and makes it habitable. And by the time he comes to check back on the planet, he doesn't remember anymore what the ocean smells like. And the ocean is one of his favorite things. That's kind of the atmosphere of this piece. It's really about the memories and the feeling and the nostalgia that we feel when we, for example, smell the ocean. And in this story, he gets to smell the ocean for what seems like the first time. I hope you enjoy this one. Thank you. So we have one more for you. This one is also from our album, Hello Future. I think one more time I want to introduce the band. We have Lucas Pino on the bass clarinet, Benny van Goodside on the viola. I can hear you guys all clap really loud. This is of course the new kind of performance that we've gotten used to over the past year, and we'll take it. Any performance is better than none, and I think it's we really enjoy performing for you. And thank you to Queen's College and the Kupferberg Center of the Arts for having us. It's really a pleasure. And this last one is called To Be Foot. It's from our album Hello Future. That's out already, and I hope you enjoy this one. Thank you. Lucas Pino, Benny van Goodside. My name is Jorn Swart, and we are Malnoia. Thank you so much for tuning in, and see you next time.
I want to welcome Jorn Swart and all the Malnoia ensemble to our screens, and let's have a chat. Hey guys.
Hey Carlos.
Hey Carlos.
You made it really quickly back to your places. Well done.
Yeah, we got we're in super speed.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. Welcome everyone. And why don't we start with just a very simple, straightforward question. We heard. Oh, we lost Benny.
Oh, am I back on?
My goodness.
Oh, no.
My goodness. Is that how you do it in Switzerland, right? Yeah.
I think there's some kind of filter.
There is
in my head.
Oh my God, Benny, we talked about this.
You talked about the
technical difficulties. I think technical difficulties.
It was your cat that caused those difficulties. We have an explanation. Everyone, we don't have to apologize any longer. If anything, you guys should start apologizing. Anyway, so no, it's wonderful to have you here. It's great to see that your lightheartedness approaching all of this stuff, and it kind of that attitude. It's kind of embedded in your music. I feel at least as someone listening to it, right? Like I understand you're all conservatory trained. You've been exposed to a lot of quote unquote new music, whatever that may mean. The term new, I mean, I don't want to sound derogatory, but the experimentation has taken us away from tonality for quite a bit, and it's almost daring now for composers and ensembles to get back to tonality. So I was wondering, sort of like in which ways you think Malnoia offers like some unique aspects to music making. So like, what are some unique aspects about Malnoia and the way you guys make music?
Yeah, I mean, I think to start out, I think the instrumentation is very unusual. Bass clarinet, piano, and viola is something that I had never seen before we started trying it to do it. So it already puts you in sort of outside of the box, like if you're trying to write music and there's no box to begin with. So you already sort of, you're already out of the box. And I think that really helps in, at least for me, it helps with being creative. Like if you started to write down ideas or like try to imagine what something is going to sound like, it's nothing is going to be obvious. And that really inspires me. I think that's one big part of it.
That's really cool. I'm really curious, Benny, if your cat would allow. How do you feel by being called in to form an ensemble, like as a permanent member of an ensemble, and you're not a violinist? You're arguably taking up quote unquote one spot, right? Like you play the viola. It's very difficult, as Jorn was saying, to find sort of like ensembles around viola as one of the melodic instruments. So I wonder what were your thoughts around that?
You mean to play the? I mean, I guess there are, like in classical music, you have ensembles that have the viola as a melodic instrument, of course. I think the unusual role that I take in Malnoia is more often that I'm like also accompanying the other guys when they play, or also that I improvise. I think there are not too many people doing that on viola, sadly. Yeah, with Malnoia, I really just love the possibilities I get on viola to go to all different spots and to really explore, to play this instrument in ways that it's not usually played in. And that's what I really love about this group.
That's really cool. And Lucas, I'm going to ask you a similar question, of course, but I do want to take a chance and ask our audience members to comment and ask any questions, however risque, especially if you're in Switzerland time. we'll put them up on our screens and sort of like have a conversation with you as well. So Lucas, on your role, like, yeah, as Benny is right to say, like the roles are shared, right? Insofar as there is a melody or there is sections for improvisation, the roles are shared, and that comes out really quickly. So how do you approach the sort of like melodic possibilities, for instance, of the bass clarinet that you bring? Are you able to push the instrument to a more sort of like lyrical space, to a more experimental space, or I don't know, something around those edges?
Yeah, I love the question. I think absolutely the instrument is tied to breath and breathing, and we each have our strengths and usual roles that we fill. However, in this ensemble, like if I'm playing the role of the fundamental or the bass, it's not so many musics nowadays where the bass function in the ensemble is going to be played by a wind instrument. You have to go all the way back to 1920 and before, with bass saxophonists and tubists filling that role. So in this ensemble, doing that has really challenged me from a physical standpoint. But as you said, and as Benny and Jorn have said, instruments, we all kind of take our turns playing the melody, playing some type of an accompaniment, playing some type of chords or bass figure. So we all have essentially gained this shifting attitude in terms of what we're going to be called on to do and what the music is going to ask us to do.
Beautiful. That's, I don't know, it's kind of really refreshing to sort of like find such a balanced ensemble that is so versatile in its music making. I really appreciate that. I just want to bring in some of the comments from our audience so that you can say hi to your faithful listeners and audience members. So Kathy C says, thank you, Benny, Lucas, and Jorn, for such creative music. So hi, Kathy, thank you for listening.
Hi, thank you.
As well as Lisette Corsa, wonderful concert. And I think you have another cat in the audience, Tobias Meinhardt. Hey, cats, what's up, Tobias? Let us know what you're thinking about. Ask your questions. We are standing by for them. But in the meantime, so you guys already talked about releasing an album. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
That's really cool. I want to focus the next few minutes around 2 or 3 aspects of the album, which I think was, speaking about unusual and unorthodox, the way you guys approach this release during these times it's very interesting. But even though you already talked about it, Jorn, for a little bit, I wanted to ask you about the Hello Future name, maybe in more detail. You said that you guys started this process 3 years ago, and the future 3 years ago arguably looked very differently than what it is right now. That's so right. If you guys want to share with us what does the album mean, Hello Future, but maybe what does it mean now as well?
Yeah, this is a very interesting time to release that album. We couldn't have thought of any of that 3 years ago, but it really touches upon a lot of the themes that are coming around and are puts in people's awareness now a little more about technology. So Hello Future is really, it's Hello Future. It's like, hello, we're here. It's sometimes it feels like we're living in the future, like we're already in a science fiction novel. And the other one is like we're looking forward to the future, not without our worries, And this kind of came out of our discussions that we've had during rehearsals that really sort of sometimes really escalated, like big arguments about artificial intelligence and when or how cab drivers in New York City would lose their job through self-driving cars and things like that. And I really wanted to do something with this because it really felt like it was part of our identity as a group. And so that's kind of where that seed was planted. And then we ended up actually weaving all these themes through this album by means of having short stories written to the music based upon these themes about the future.
That is such a cool idea for collaborating as well, which we should definitely do much more than that. Which brings me to an interesting question from the audience. From the Next Festival of Emerging Artists from our YouTube channel asks, fascinating. Would love to hear how the idea for a democracy app played into making this new composition.
Yeah, I can answer that one. I think it's kind of the other way around. So, it's like the idea for democracy sort of came out of this music. I think, we started, that's kind of the unusual thing. It's I call it like reversed film scoring, where with film, you have a narrative, and then you put, if you have score to that, you put film score to that after the film is finished, right? And you kind of accompany it or steer it a certain direction. And I wanted to try the reverse. So start with the music and then come up with a narrative. So this one kind of came out of this. And I think the music Democrap is a really sort of playful, quirky piece, but it's also kind of dark. The whole middle section there's a lot of dissonances. It's so that's kind of where this ironic take on democracy came out of, I think.
That was really cool. And the cadences, my friends, all that. I don't know, we can talk about that later, but I was like, it's like Stravinsky's period of neoclassicism, or like Ravel, I don't know. Or Jorn
All
Swart.
of the above, yeah.
Exactly. Tobias Meinhardt, sir, thank you very much.
Queen's alum as well.
What's that?
Queen's alum as well.
Oh, look at that. Hello, Tobias. It's good we should chat, by the way. So at Lucas, did you start out on clarinet or sax? Is it hard for you to switch, especially speaking of improvisation? Yeah, I can't read anymore. Yeah.
That's a great question. I started out on the saxophone, Tobias, and when I started playing the clarinet, it really taught me something about what it means to practice and to be able to really access information. And I'm grateful to it. It's still a challenge. I feel like I'm an aspiring bass clarinetist, and I'm hoping that someday it can really reflect all of the feelings and expression that I got inside of me. But I kind of enjoy the struggle of it all, and also I think that in terms of improvisation, there's a yielding that we have to obey when we improvise. So you kind of yield to the music, you kind of yield to the situation, and in that way, there's plenty of technique to make music.
That's beautiful. That's wonderful. Yeah. Well, on that rather profound note, Benny, I wanted to ask you something. Recording this album, getting such a massive project, such a massive undertaking, sort of like to lift off, and we'll talk about the release in a minute. But I wanted to hear from you, Benny, what were some memorable moments of the album's recording process to you? What were some experiences that you had that like are really embedded in your memory, like something you really want to share but didn't have the chance to be with your bandmates before?
Yeah, the great thing about this about the recording process for this album was that we were pretty much recording it on the road. So like most of the time with the band, you first go into the studio and record because you need something to show to presenters to book your concert. And this time we kind of had a few days off on a tour in Holland and went into the studio then. And that was great once because we already were really kind of played in, and the songs were already taking shape during concerts. But of course, we had some really amazing experiences on the road. Of course, some of them are not PG-13, so I can't explain them here in close detail. Maybe I'll pass this question on, Lucas. What was your most memorable experience?
And by the way, stay tuned for our midnight podcast on how Halo Future was so memorable to release.
You can't take this guy anywhere.
That's true. And yet we take him everywhere.
And yet,
What is up with that?
I don't know. I mean, some of the most memorable. You know what springs to mind? The first thing that springs to mind is that church that we played in, where it was a very old church, and I can't remember what country we were in. We were probably in the
Holland.
Netherlands, and in Holland. And on the I don't know what they call it, but there was a concrete slab that had the time that it was built. It had a date of the time that this church was built, and the church was built like several hundred years before the United States was a country. It was like
1308, I think.
It was 1308, and yeah, that was a remarkable experience. I mean, when you stand in places like that, and you look down, and I don't know, it really gave me a sense of like small. You feel really small, and you feel like life is very short.
where do you get these people, man? One is like contemplating the shortness of life, the other one contemplating how you would not remember the smell of the sea, and the other one's cat just keep jumping on his head. It's really, really interesting stuff. From our YouTube audience, Lisette Corsa has a very interesting question. Lisette says, I love that you included a choro in the album, such a play for a surprise. How did that composition come about in the choro style, and who in the trio is the biggest Brazilian music fan?
Me.
you look the part, man. You look the part.
I mean, I wrote this piece, and I think it was in a time where I was studying a lot of choros, actually. So and part of it was that I grew up playing the accordion before I played piano, because my grandfather played accordion. And at some point, when you're a teenager, I didn't think it was very cool to play the accordion. I wouldn't even tell people I was playing the accordion. Of course, now I realize the accordion is way cool, but I wasn't wise yet. So I dropped that, and I started playing piano, and I kind of got into jazz in that way. But I bought one again a couple of years ago, and I started taking a couple lessons with a friend of mine, a great pianist and accordionist, Vitor Gonçalves, who's Brazilian and is amazing, incredible player. And that's kind of how I started learning to play. I mean, I was attempting to scratch the surface of that whole world and learning choros, and I just love the music, the energy, it's such a genius sort of way of composing. And as I said in the video, it's like the Bebop of Brazil. And, I think it's a really fun music for musicians to play. It's very challenging, and there's just so much to learn in terms of rhythm and all of that. So, but actually Lucas is a big Brazilian music fan as well.
I am. Yeah. I was really happy when you started introducing those elements into the band.
You didn't look happy.
Because it's hard.
I was going to say, like, you guys were like changing progressions in the middle of the rhythmic pattern. And I was like, well, that's new. I mean, so anyway, Lucas, is Jorn right about the Brazilian music fandom that you profess?
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, what's the right word? I mean, I still am a neophyte, and I think we all are. We're all like fans of it, and that's what you do. You try to perform the music that you're a fan of, but I think that it's in this band in particular, there's been so many disparate influences that Jorn draws upon compositionally that when you notice them, it's kind of like being on the inside of like an inside joke or things like that. And other times, like I haven't been hip to the influence, and then we'll be going along our lives, and I'll get hip later, and I'll go, oh man, that's clever. This type of thing is always happening in this band.
That's why you keep him in the band, right?
Exactly.
Well, that's why you guys keep Jorn around, because he's got some clever ideas. But Benny, so you clearly the biggest fan of Brazilian music out of the three. How do you have plenty of experience beforehand playing Brazilian music?
No, I wouldn't. I mean, I guess a little bit. I just, yeah. I mean, I just love the Brazilian music has such a original, such a beautiful blend of complex harmony and rhythm, which I think for almost any jazz musician is really appealing. And there's, I mean, there's so much great music, and yeah. So I've never lived in Brazil, but you know, I'm definitely into the music.
Whenever you go, they might lose you. You might just be like, you know what, this is it. I have found my people.
Is anyone as amused as I was at Jorn's solution to playing the dorky accordion was to switch to piano? Like, that's gonna absolve you of
because the piano is so cool.
Right. I didn't realize, you know, in my head, like the piano was so cool, and then I started playing piano, and no one cared. It was like, what are you doing?
I got the perfect solution.
Hey, it could have been the viola. I'm kidding, Benny. I'm kidding. All right. Tell us about. So, for those of you guys who are with us, and you might not know that Malnoia's album release wasn't necessarily the most orthodox one. You know, you usually press a few records, go on a concert tour in a normal year, and that is that. Now, I want you guys to please share with us what it is that you did, so that I don't ruin the explanation, but also whether it was based on having to deal with the pandemic, or you already were thinking about something like that beforehand. Like, you know, what would be cool? It would be cool to do this. So I don't know if you guys want to, who wants to take that question?
Sure. I mean, it's true that it's actually, you know, it really, the pandemic allowed for this to be more appropriate. You know, I think what we did was a 6-day event, an online event. So every day, people who signed up, this is a week before the album officially came out, with over 100 people sign up and join us every day, where we did, every day they would receive a page with 2 songs of the record. So we kind of walk people through the album 2 songs at a time. And there will be like the music, and we have a performance from that tour in 2019 that I, on a boat in an old Dutch town, and I videotaped it and recorded it and never did anything with it. So there's like performances of each song, and also videos of me sort of explaining how the song was created, like you know, the composition and what inspired it, and interviews with the 3 hosts. There's so much content that I've sort of worked on over the past year that I put together in this I call the Hello Future experience. And so that was kind of what the release was. It's of course, we couldn't really do a live concert, or we had planned to go on tour in January, and of course that didn't happen. So this was kind of an alternative to that. But I think, you know, I think it's something that I highly recommend that artists try to do something like this, especially now with Spotify, for example. You can't really go around it. You know, it's a thing that doesn't pay musicians much, but it's something that we all use and listen to music. So it's there, and we use it. And it's one of those technologies, you know, that's again some theme of the album that's there, and it's changing the way that we make music. So in a way, you know, you're giving away your music for free. And then my idea is just like, if we're doing that, then I just want to do it on my terms and show you everything else that goes with it, and everything that goes into it, and all our ideas. And of course, then we also build a relationship with the listeners, and I think that's really important. And we can stay in touch and tell people what we're doing next. And so, you know, that's been a really sort of inspiring event that we did.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, Malnoia, thank you so very much. It's been a wonderful experience. It's been a wonderful concert. Please tell us, where can we find you guys on the World Wide Web? What's the best way to connect?
So the best place to find us is first on our website, malnoiamusic.com. If you want to join this experience, It's free. It's 6 days, and it starts whenever you sign up. It's at malnoiamusic.com/hellofuture. And then on Facebook, we post most of our stuff on Facebook. So that's Facebook under Malnoia, basically. And we all have our own, Instagram accounts and that kind of thing. So yeah, follow us there.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Jorn, Benny, Lucas. It's been a wonderful experience. And to you at home, thank you so much for sticking around. You can find all of our spring programming at kupferbergcenter.org. And you can also find us on Instagram and Facebook. Yeah, so everyone have a beautiful night. Stay safe. We're not through this yet, but hopefully we will soon see you in person. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good one. Take care.
Bye-bye.